Welcome to Amara Rashid online math class. This is indices. We want to discuss the laws of indices. But for indices, this is our first video. I labeled part 1. So we have different videos that we shall be making for indices. We want to discuss today the laws of indices and the basic laws of indices. The first one is when you have two bases, two values, two indices, like a to the power of m, a to the power of n. For example, you have 2 to the power of 5 multiplied by 2 to the power of 10. So this is an example of this law. So we call this one the multiplication law. Whenever you are multiplying two values, but the bases are the same, what do? We take one of the bases. Because of multiplication, we add the powers. So we say m plus n. Like this one, if you have 2 to the power of 5 multiplied by 2 to the power of 10, because the bases are the same, we take 1. Because of multiplication, we add the powers. Then we say 2 plus 10. So this is what we get. So now finally you can say 2 to the power of 15. Then you determine using your calculator what is 2 to the 15th power. So the second one here says, for example, a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n. This is like you have 2 to the power 10 divided by 2 to the power 8. This is an example of this law. So we call this one the division law. Now two values are divided, but the two values, their bases are the same. So what we do is we take one of the bases. Why we decided to take one of the bases is because the bases are the same. So what do we do with the powers? Because of division, we subtract the powers. The first one subtract the second. So this is what we get. So with an example like this one, we say 2 to the power. Why we decided to take 2? Because they are the same. We decided to take 2. Because of division, we subtract the powers. So 10 minus 8. Then we can get what? 10 minus 8 is 2. So with this one, you can determine what is 2 to the second power. So we have another one here. We say a to the power of m, everything is raised to the power of n. We call this one the power law. Alright. Now which law is this? Whenever one value is affected by 2 or more powers. For example, you have 2 to the power 3, everything is raised to the power 2. Or 3 to the power 2, raised to the power 3, and everything is raised to the power 2. One base is having 3 powers affecting it. One base is having 2 powers affecting it. So here, one base is having 2 powers affecting it. What do? We consider that base. The 2 powers, one is inside, another one is outside, affecting the base. They multiply themselves. So m multiplied by n, we say mn. So this is what we get. So if you have something like this, you can say 2 raised to the power. This 3 is affecting 2. This power is affecting this. So the 2 powers affecting the base must multiply themselves. So we say 3 times 2 is 6. So likewise, here again, the base is 3. But this base 3 is affected by this 2, affected by this 3, it's also affected by this 2. So all the 3 powers multiply themselves. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, multiplied by 2 is 12. So 3 to the 12th power. So we go to the fourth one. Now, what if we have a to the negative power? This one can be 2. Let's say there is another a over b to the negative power. The base is having a negative power. The base is having a negative power. Let us say this is the first one, this is the second one. So the two are just the same. Negative power law, negative exponent law, negative index law. Remember, the power can also be called index or we can also call it what? Exponent. So the power is negative. The power is negative. The only difference is that here the base is what? Is non-fractional. Here the base is fractional. Though mathematically this one is also fractional because there is a denominator of 1. Alright. So whenever the power is negative, what do? We consider the inverse, the reciprocal of the base. If the base is A, what is the inverse of A? Remember, A alone is A over 1 or A upon 1. So if we want to know the inverse of A, it's like we want to know the inverse of A over 1. So the inverse of this is 1 over A. So definitely the inverse of A is 1 over A. So if the power is negative, to interpret this index law, what do? We take the reciprocal of this base, that is 1 upon A. So what do? We ignore the minus, but write the power without the minus. So likewise, if we come to this and this, they are just the same. The only thing that is different here is, here the base is not, the denominator of this base is 1. The denominator of this base is not 1. So what do? We interpret this one the same. Because the power is negative, we consider the inverse, the reciprocal, that is B upon A. Then we ignore the minus, then we say M. Let us see other laws. Now, let us say there is another law that says fractional index law, fractional index law, fractional power law, fractional exponent law. So this again, we have this a to the power of 3, a to 2 over 3. All right. So we can otherwise say 3 over 4. All right. So all of these ones are just special cases of one law. Which law? Fractional power law, fractional index law, fractional exponent law. So whenever the power is a fraction, we have a fractional power, the first thing we do is to have a root. The power here is a fraction. The first thing we do is to have a root. The power is a fraction. The first thing we have is to have a root. The power is a fraction. The first thing we do is to have a root. Alright, so with this root, what do? The base is what we write in the roots. The base should be in the roots. Can see the base? Here is the base. Okay, let's say we have another one here, like, let's say A upon B to the power of what? Let's say 2 upon 3. Okay, let's say 2 upon 3. Or let's say 5. Alright. So the most important thing is the power is a fraction. So because the power is a fraction, we have our root. Okay. So what should be in the root is the base. This is A upon B. But bear in mind that the root is supposed to cover down to the denominator. So this is what we have. Okay. Now it's not done, it's not over. Because the power is a fraction, we have a root. What should be in the root? The base. Whether it's a single value, a compound, a bracket, or whatsoever. Even if you have like 2x to the power of 3, and the power is a fraction. The most important thing is, because the power is a fractional number, we have a root. And what should be in the root? The base. That is 2x to the power of 3. This is what we call fractional power law. Fractional index law, fractional exponent law. So what else we do? Now, the denominator here of the fraction is 2. If the denominator of the fraction is 2, you don't write anything here. if the denominator of the fraction is not more than 2, we leave this space as it is. But if the denominator of the fraction is more than 2, we write that denominator here. So this is what we write. So we can call that one what? The cube root. So this is 3. See, the denominator is 3 is what we write. The denominator is 3 is what we write. The denominator is 4 is what we have here. The denominator is 5 is what we have here. The denominator is 2. We don't write it. So the numerator is 1. If the numerator is 1, we leave it like that. The numerator is 1, we leave it like that. The numerator is 2, we say everything is raised to the power of 2. The numerator is 3, everything is raised to the power of 3. The numerator is 2, everything is raised to the power of 2. The numerator is 1, we leave it like that. So basically, if the power is half, we say the square root of x. If the power is 1/3, what do we say? Cube roots of x. What if the power is 1 over n? If the power is 1 over n, remember, here is 2, we don't write 2. It's 3, it is compulsory, it's a must to write it. The power is 3, it's a must. The power is 4, it's a must. The power is 5, it's a must. The power is n, it is a must. So x, n. So this one is read as what? The nth root. This one is the nth root. We read this one as nth root. So let's see if we have another. Okay. So let's say we have a to the power of minus half. So again, a to the power minus 1/3. A to the power minus 2/3. A to the power minus 3/4. A divided by b, negative 2/5. All right. So this is what we have. Now, negative fractional power law. Negative fractional index law. All right. So with this one, remember, there is a law we have here. If the power is negative, negative power law, what do? We consider the inverse of the base. So because the power is negative, we consider the inverse. What is the inverse? 1 upon a raised to half. The power is negative, we consider the inverse. 1 upon a raised to 1/3. The power is negative, 1 upon a. We ignore the minus. We ignore the minus. We ignore the minus. 2/3. The power is negative, 1 upon a. 3/4. No more minus. The power is negative. All right. So here again, the power is negative. So because of the power is negative, we consider the inverse of this one, the reciprocal. The reciprocal of this one is b over a. So what next? We ignore the minus sign. So say 2 over 5. All right. This is not over yet. Now, because of the negative, we take the inverse. The negative, we take the inverse. Everything we've done is because the power is negative, so we consider the inverse of the base. So have we done that? So what else we do? Because the power is fractional, we open the roots. And in the roots, we have 1 over a. So the denominator is 2. We don't write anything here. The power is 1. Sorry, the numerator is 1. For the power, we don't write anything. So likewise here, the power is fractional. We have the roots. The base is what we write inside. So the denominator here is 3. is what we write here. The numerator is 1. For the power, we don't write anything. The power is fractional. We have the roots. So the base is what we write inside. So the denominator is 3, is what we write in here. So the numerator is 2. This time around, the numerator is not 1. So everything is raised to the power of 1. Sorry, power of 2. So the power is fractional. We say a root. So the base is 1 over a. The denominator is 4, is what we write here. This is 4th root. The numerator is 3. So the power is 3. So here again, the power is fractional. So we have a root. What do we write in the root? Is the base, b over a. The denominator is 5, is written here. The numerator is 2, is the power. So we are done with what? Negative fractional power law. Now, the last one here, 7, is 0 power law, 0 index law, 0 exponent law. So whenever the power is 0, the result is 1. So what if we have 2x to the power of 0? The most important thing is everything we have in the bracket is affected by the power 0. So because of that, the result is 1. What if we have 2y over 351 raised to the power of 0? The most important thing is whatsoever we have in the bracket is affected by the power 0. So therefore, the result is 1. So these are the basic laws of indices we have so far. So in the subsequent videos, we shall be solving sophisticated problems wherein we interpret all these laws. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and share. And don't forget to subscribe for the YouTube channel. Bye-bye.